World stream. They committed a
Oh yeah.
overlay faux pas. I don't know if you saw that one. They cut to the camera
No.
shot and still the draft screen up. Well,
Oh, they had the overlays still on
yeah, yeah.
or whatever. Oh boy.
Their first mess up with the overlays that I've seen all tournament. I just found it funny because that's something that we casters sometimes forget. Like the draft ends and we're in game and we still have our draft overlay on, and there's like cages everywhere. So it was a funny little moment, but nothing too big a deal. So
nothing too crazy.
Vici Gaming, I mean, this is a lot of push, a lot of kind of pressure that they can apply on the map. It's not necessarily like a 5-man death bowl kind of draft that we've seen more from CDC Youth, but as far as pressure and push potential, this draft has a lot, even just with these 2 picks.
Yeah, and CDEC Youth have been appreciating that, just going to get rid of the Vengeful Spirit. I think a pretty smart ban. But if Vici do want to go all in on the 5-man, then they've still got plenty of heroes that they could incorporate in here. There's still a Shadow Shaman. If they feel that they need a little bit more tower damage on the front of picking up some more team fight, there's stuff like Undying still available. Get yourself the sustain from the Soul Rip. The sustain is probably the one question that Vici do have to ask themselves if they are going to go for the all-in 5-man push, because the Oracle's already been banned by them and the Dazzle's already been taken. So it might have to come from a Juggernaut or from the Undying that I mentioned if they really want to have that sustainable 5-man draft. Though they could take this in a totally different direction as well.
Ban onto the FY Morana now, so worried about that roaming support that he's been playing a lot of. And it does pair up very nicely with the Dragon Knight, because the Dragon Tail gives you such a good setup for the arrow. Like, you hit level 6 on DK, you pop your ulti, stun the mid lane, and then an arrow follows it up, and suddenly you've got like 8 seconds worth of stun on a mid laner to try and kill him off.
Yeah, and Vici chewing into a little bit more reserve time here. Just going to get rid of the Earth Spirit. I think it was pretty well played by Demons in the previous game. Yep. So I think it definitely deserves the ban here. But so what? I guess the one thing that Vici don't have a ton of at the moment is necessarily a whole lot of counter push. They've got some split push if it does come down to CDEC Youth actually just being the 5-man lineup, because I feel like up until this point in the draft, we've talked about Vici as the team that could potentially take it in a very 5-man oriented direction moving forward. But it could actually be CDEC Youth who, if they're just sticking to what they've been showing so far this series, they might actually be the ones rounding out the 5-man. So that's where Vici might need to look at a little bit more counter push, a little bit more pick off. And I think the line at least fits into the latter of those 2 categories here.
Yeah, just we've seen, I guess, possibly the FY hero. Most of the lines throughout this tournament have been played very greedily, going for like Boots first item and then just rushing the Blink Dagger as fast as possible without any kind of stop-off items. So that could kind of fit the role that he's been playing as that kind of X Factor, roaming around, getting the kills for the team.
Yeah, it's so funny that just because of how flashy and whatnot FY is as a player, I feel like Fenrir lives in his shadow a little bit. But Fenrir is such an exceptional support player, in his own right. It just happens to be on a team with FY. They make a very good duo as well, but it feels like it's always it's FY and Fenrir, not Fenrir and FY for the most part.
Yeah. I mean, they even had, I think it was TI, where they had their like all the team kind of videos, and like the coaches and the managers have been saying, without Fenrir there is no FY. Like you can't, FY doesn't get to do what he does without Fenrir being there to make the duo work. And Sand King comes up. I'm curious to see how this affects things, because in the past there's been a FY 4 position Sand King as one of his kind of preferred heroes. At the same time, new Sand King can't really jungle quite as well because of the way the neutral stacking works with the magic resistance, so not entirely sure that's going to be the plan, but interesting pickup for Vici Gaming.
Yeah, I wonder if part of their anti-invoker strat is going to be just roaming on the mid lane a lot, because the Lion and the Sand King can both roam independently is the big thing. So either the Lion or the Sand King can smoke up and run towards mid, and then you get the first stun, the Nature's Prophet TP's in, and it feels like almost no matter what, Invoker's going to be dead there. So having vision on one support or the other for CDEC Youth isn't necessarily going to keep you safe, and Sand King is going to be off the map a lot anyway, because he's probably going to be doing a little bit of stacking, a little bit of jungling in between the roam, so that's just naturally going to put a lot of pressure on the Invoker. And I feel like we'll probably see a couple of deaths potentially for the Invoker in the early game if Vici get their way with how they want these lanes to go. Also, CDEC.Y don't really have any opportunity to run aggressive, so they don't have any real opportunity, it looks like at the moment, to shut down those two roaming supports and keep them pinned on the safe lane, because I don't think they want to put the Clockwork into a 1v1 again.
Yeah. I think after how last game went, they're more like... I don't think you can run Terrorblade in an aggro tri-lane either. He's really strong with Metamorph up, but it's a 2-minute cooldown, so you've got to play around the Metamorph cooldown, so very much a hero who needs to be in the safe lane most of the time. And Terrorblade picked up, so we see, I think, our 3rd or 4th Terrorblade of the tournament, and this is what CDC at Youth are going to go for with this series on the line here, down 1 game in the best of 3.
Works really well with the Dazzle. Shallow Grave is an extremely reliable way to get your Sunder off, so that's always good. Is a little bit weak potentially against the Lion and the Sand King. You're talking about a lot of magical bursts and a lot of lockdown, so that's going to be tough for him. But it does definitely fit into the vein of the CDEC.Y playstyle that we've been seeing. It's 5-man oriented, it's pushy, and should do all right this game. This isn't the most valuable reflection game that I've ever seen in terms of the heroes that he's matched up against, but I think it should still be all right for CDEC.Y.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't look at this Terrorblade pick and be like, oh, it works really nicely against Vici's draft. It just seems to be CDEC.Y drafting to their own strength and to their playstyle, wanting something that can push down towers and 5-men well. So Terrorblade it will be. It's also a nice hero to put an Alacrity on, which is something Invoker's likely to get, and will give them a lot of just pushing potential, as well as lane control. It's a pretty hard hero for Prophet to lane against whenever he's got Metamorph available. So Prophet will have to be very cautious of that as a result.
Yeah. Does the reflection illusion provide vision? If he sprouts himself, do you get to see inside the...
It doesn't provide vision. It chases them, and I think it would chase over the sprout, like it has flying movement, kind of, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But like you can, like, if you juke around a tree, your illusion has to like follow them before you get vision again. Like I'm not sure how well I'm explaining it, but
okay, yeah, because I wasn't a Terrorblade player before, and I'm still not a Terrorblade player now, so I'm not very sure. Also, we don't see a whole lot of him. I feel like I probably played against Terrorblade in pubs like once in the last 2 months or something like that. But what do we got? Vici Gaming round things out with the Gyrocopter, so even more teamfight, even more AoE magical damage here, which looks like that might just be their answer to the 5-man from CDEC.Y. Is that, well, if CDEC.Y are going to have a good 5-man lineup, they shouldn't really be able to have both better 5-man and better 5-man sustain and better team fights. So Vici are just kind of put together a ridiculous amount of team fight, and I think they're just going to be able to fight CDEC.Y for those early buildings.
All right, we'll see what the overall plan's going to be here. Both teams roll out. Darkseer, the final pick, giving an even better team fight to CDEC.Y. So yeah, Clockwork support, by the way, this hero has some shenanigans he can do. We talked about the Ancients pulls. Well, Clockwork, I believe, capable of doing that as well. I don't know if that
and Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. So we've got pull shenanigans likely to happen with demons on this support Clockwork.
Yeah, I was talking about all the options that the Nature's Prophet has in the offlane now, but I was just sitting there and thinking that he's got even more as well. There's now the new side pull that's kind of available to all offlaners, but I think works particularly well for Nature's Prophet being able to run it with the Treants. And yeah, there's still the ancient pulls in the game.
So FY on the Nature's Prophet, by the way, which means he likely is going for some shenanigans such as that. And this makes... Yep. When they picked the Sand King, I was very much like, okay, I don't really think this hero jungles as effectively, but it makes a lot more sense now that they are putting it in the hands of Ice for the offlane, so... We'll see how this works out here. You think 4th position Nature's Prophet, you normally think greedy jungler, but I imagine FY likely to try and pull some shenanigans, be a bit annoying and aggressive, go for some courier snipes possibly, and play a bit more high impact rather than go for like a safe farming style on Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, and I think he's just going to be communicating with Fenrir the whole time as well. Fenrir's already got a smoke picked up, so he might go and grab his level 2 very quickly up on the safe lane, and then look to make an immediate rotation towards the Invoker, and then they can have the Nature's Prophet TP in as well. They don't have the Sand King necessarily as free because iG.V is over in the off lane, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to make rotations over to the mid lane, and that should make Inflame feel just a little bit more safe, but yeah, I feel like this Nature's Prophet has tons of options available to him here in the early game, and he might even be able to stack up this big camp over here.
Option number one is go for the Sprout Ancients pulls, so...
Yep.
Here we go. And he'll slightly mess it up. He gets just... Okay, this is 950 HP, so this Black Dragon... The main thing is you don't want the Ancient to die, and it looks like he actually doesn't connect with the creep wave there, so... Perhaps going to go for round number 2. Yeah, top lane, Demons has gone in with an Iron Shell and Clockwork. He's caught Fenrir with some courtesy of the boot. Doesn't look like he'll get the kill though. No Surge available, but Fenrir going to take a lot of damage as a result. Bottom lane, meanwhile, it's going to be iG.V getting initiated on. He's forced to use a Burrow Strike defensively against the Poison Touch Reflection aggression coming out from CDEC. It looks like another fumbled Ancients pull coming out from FY.
Alright, FY does not look practiced at this at all. He's... I guess the positioning on the Sprout is a little bit more precise than the shards. Yeah. Okay, third time's the charm, maybe?
Let's wait and see.
Alright, this looks promising.
Yes. He needs to meet it up with the creep wave. It looks like it will do just that. Now we're talking. Luckily,
he got to give his creeps vision as well, I think.
Oh, he sprouted for the vision. There we go. Okay. It took him a bit of work, but he got there. So one creep wave has been pulled, and even though he messed it up twice, this is still going to be very, very annoying for Inflame, an Invoker hero who needs the levels. He's coming over to contest it looks like, or possibly just secure the 2-minute rune, which is going to be a bounty rune.
Yeah, he can steal 50% of the experience now.
This is a lot of XP for the big one. It looks like he may want to attack it. It's getting low here.
Come on, teamwork. You both want the experience. Oh no, he's gonna just drive FY back.
I think it's worth killing this if you can. Obviously, you're gonna have to split the XP because FY will linger around, but that's a lot of gold from that Black Dragon. He's gonna grab the bounty rune for now. Is he gonna... Ooh, that Sunstrike was... Oh, he was looking for a Daryl.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah, Daryl actually almost ticked out to the Poison Touch as well. I feel like FY's already missed 2 opportunities to stack this big camp. He could have stacked it once after the second time that he messed up, and then he could have actually stacked it as the creep wave came through and he started attacking the Black Dragon. So that's maybe a bit of a missed opportunity. Super getting jumped on here in the mid lane, but it's pretty tanky. It's just going to be harassment.
I'm not seeing the pull shenanigans yet from the Clockwork. We'll see if that's going to change about now. He's drawing it over. Actually, no, we have been. I haven't kept an eye on him, but yeah, he's gotten this Black Dragon down pretty low already, so it looks like he's been going for some mid pulls himself. So mid pulls on mid pulls. What does 6.86 come to, Cameron? What on earth are we watching?
Yeah, this is some nonsense. He didn't even pull it into the creep wave. He just pulled into the tower. It's just gonna be extra damage on the Black Dragon, so he might be able to clear it out next time around. I guess so. You know, if there's anyone that you want to have pinned underneath the tower grabbing CS, then it's probably this Dragon Knight. DK's probably one of the best heroes in the game when it comes to, if you're running mid poles, he can just sit under his tower and grab very easy CS. So good from Vici from that perspective in terms of how it works into their overall draft.
Next mid pull attempt from FY may not actually work. This Black Dragon is... Okay, no, he's not even going for the mid pull. It looks like he's just going to try and kill it off with the help of the tower.
I think he wanted the mid pull, but it seemed like the timing was a bit off.
Completely off with that timing, but he gets the last hit, so that's 165 gold and gets him his level 2. But he's going to have to wait for another creep wave to spawn before he can go for another Ancients pull. Meanwhile, Clockwork up to level 2.5. It looks like he still hasn't killed off his Black Dragon. Hasn't really been stacking his Ancients, but definitely you look at this and you think it's probably a little bit over the top, but neither of these players really showing refinement with the way they're doing the Ancients pulls. If this was well executed, these Ancient pulls, it'd be having a much bigger impact on this game.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of missed potential here. I don't actually know which one's been more successful overall. The Dragon Knight is pretty close on CS with the Invoker here, so I feel inclined to say that maybe Super has benefited a little bit more because I don't feel like this is an amazing lane for the Dragon Knight by any means, but it might get tough in a second as they're going to come in here looking for a dive with the smoke.
Yep. Oh, he doesn't get the Cogs Trap though, and Demons, as a result, won't get the kill. Gyro Burning's keeping in as well, has a Rocket Barrage and a Flak. It looks like he's trying to get aggressive here. iG.V Won't be there in time for a Burrow Strike, and no kills will go down in this mid lane.
We had no Prophet TP coming in either. It's available for FY, but I guess just wasn't feeling confident that they were actually going to be able to get a turnaround. So we still got no first blood. That was a cool rotation to see out of Burning, I think, actually. I guess he sort of realized that the offlane was completely absent, so they were kind of preparing for it, and he was one of the most valuable people that they could have had to go and counter-initiate. But that is not a characteristic Burning play.
No.
At all.
And normally it's like if he's TPing in, it's because he knows there's like a guaranteed initiation. Like if DK's got ulti form up and about to hit a stun, he's going to get the call like TP in, I'm going to hit a stun. This was just like I'm going to TP in to make sure you stay alive. We'll see Terrorblade pop his Metamorph here at the bottom lane. A pretty aggressive move from him considering the long cooldown, and he's using this just to get a bit of damage dealt to the tier 1 tower. Possibly try and force some rotations here.
Yeah, it does get his Basskip delivered, so that's going to make the push a little bit easier, but the Prophet's in position to kind of hold this out, so it looks like it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Sand King's got himself level 4, sitting on a skill point at the moment, in fact. Not skilling up the Sandstorm just yet, but might be forced into it here, potentially. Yeah, there you go. But they've got a Dust anyway.
DK coming in for backup. Fenrir's also rotated in. He's level 3 now, but neither of those two able to get an initiation. 7 minutes in, we've yet to see a kill. Both teams making a lot of movement with their supports, I'd say. Even the offlanes, we've seen Sand King come mid, Darkseer come mid, but neither team able to secure that first blood yet.
Okay, I think this has actually been a really nice early game. Just kind of somewhat solid decisions on both sides getting pretty good farms, so it does set the stage really nicely for moving further forward into the mid game. FY now getting some levels in the off lanes, so it looks like his Nature's Prophet is still going to do decently this game. I wonder what the Sand King's going to do. That's my big question for Ice. They haven't set up any stacks or anything for him, so...
He's only got level 1 Sandstorm, so he doesn't have that. The jungle farming is a lot slower now with some of the changes, but with this build, it's just not possible. So his only real option is to try and roam around and fight with some of his teammates. Probably when Gyrocopter's ready for his next rotation, we'll see like Sand King, DK, and Gyro maybe pair up to get some kills for the team.
Yeah, he does have the opportunity to potentially use the new Caustic Finale to stack some camps for himself. You can double stack using the new Caustic, but that's again another one of those things that you kind of have to have a little bit of practice at to get reliably. So it looks like he's just going to be chilling in the offlane for the time being.
Yep.
FY Garderobe of the Mega, I don't know exactly what kind of build we're going to be seeing from him. This might just be some early treads. Drum has been overwhelmingly popular on Nature's Prophet from what I've seen just recently.
TP back to base and we'll see what the item's going to be. Right now he's not getting too much. Gyro in the safe lane has got an Invoker now rotating up to his lane, although it doesn't look like Inflame's trying to catch him by surprise. He just moves out, eats his Fairy Fire, TP's back mid, and picks up an Urn for himself. So we'll see that Cold Snap Urn Invoker. Pretty standard stuff coming out from Inflame early on, and going for a Quaswex build with the 1 value point in Exort.
Yeah, this is pretty... Yeah, it seems pretty standard.
The one thing that's now changed for CDC is they've rotated Terrorblade into the jungle. They are going to give a lane to Clockwork to try to get his level 6. It works out nicely for CDC as far as spreading the farm a bit, but it also means that Ice on the Sand King will get more out of the lane since he's got a much easier lane opponent now.
Yeah, and with the somewhat greedy setups from both sides, it looks like the 5 position heroes are going to be struggling a little bit. Though as I say that, Fenrir actually has 15 CS. I think he just got every single creep while burning TP to the mid lane. So he's actually doing not too bad for himself. And we are going to see the aggressive rotation here out of burning. Coming down into the opposing safe lane. But nobody is home at the moment, it looks like.
They get down the ward here. They'll see the Clockwork. He walks back into it. Hex Impale is there. They won't even need a cooldown. Burning gets first blood out of it. 9 minutes, 40 seconds in. Meanwhile, mid lane, there's going to be initiation onto Super. It looks like AIM gets the Reflection Slow, pops a Metamorph as well. Tornado is there. TP coming in. That's going to be Sand King, but it's going to be too late to turn the tides of this mid lane. Oh, there goes Sentry Ward for him. He's in trouble. No Burrow Strike, no Sandstorm available. Offensive Urn being used, and Ice perhaps overextending a bit there. not respecting the sentry ward that was there. He probably checked their inventories and saw there was no sentries or dust, but the sentry... Actually, no, there was sentries on Dazzle. The sentry ward perhaps already planted and catching him by surprise.
Alright. So, of the two rotations, the CDEC Youth is going to be a little bit more successful. I think the mid tower a little bit more valuable than the safe lane tower, and they got 2 core kills. So, and the Clockwork's what I guess he's the 4th position actually this game. So,
yep.
Yeah. Nice little win for them.
And we'll see Treads picked up by FY. He's now level 6, so has the ultimate online. And for CDEC, the important item coming soon is going to be the mech for June. They're going to have mech, they're going to have an invoker with a decent amount of levels. He's got the urn as well to start roaming around the map. And I imagine CDEC will look to keep on fighting. Possibly the one thing they're still waiting on is going to be the hook shot coming up for the Clockwork.
Yeah. This is a game where I really want to see a first item 4 staff from the invoker, I think. It's good against the Sprout, it's good against the Lion stun, good against the Sand King stun, good against the Dragon Knight stun, good against the call down. I'm not sure what else you would consider. We've seen a wide array of invoker builds over the last week or so.
And also probably good because he's not farming amazingly well. If you try and go for an Orchid, it's an item that's just going to take too long to come online when you're not kind of free farming. He's sitting on 4.2k net worth at 12 minutes in, which is decent, but by no means incredible.
He's got the quarterstaff now, but we have seen a little bit of Dragonlance and Invoker, so that might just be what Influence is going for here. Tornado catches mid.
There's that cold snap follow-up. It doesn't look like he's got any spells, but is he going to need anything? Super pops his wand, turns around, gets a stun onto June, and with a cold down from Burning, the damage is too much for the Dazzle to fight into. June's still in some trouble himself, but Demons has rocked up with a nice cog, trapping Burning in place, but that's just going to feed him an extra kill, and Burning gets 3. Super. Too damn tanky, with 17 one charges, Treads, Stout Shield. He could not be brought down.
Yeah, I think for CDEC Youth, there was no way in their minds that they just didn't expect the Gyrocopter to be where he was. I mean, Burning didn't even TP in. He just happened to be in the neighborhood as that gank happened, and it was right place, right time to turn things around. There was a little bit of a hint, perhaps, because Fenrir was farming the safe lane, but I mean, the Gyro could have been anywhere. It could have been in their jungle, could have been over at the big camp, could have been starting to clear out the Ancients. So just kind of a bit of bad luck for CDEC Youth, especially bad given that they'd just picked up the mech, and that was kind of the first big attempt that they'd made with it, which does get turned around on them.
And now Lion's hit level 6, so it's Vici Gaming who can go on the aggressive if they would like to. We've got an Invis rune on Super. Fenrir, he's ready to go for his smoke. Does need to be wary of the fact there's a very deep Radiant Observer ward here, so this time around they do have Vision of Burning, but Super Invised up is headed towards this Inflame Invoker, and he would make a prime Finger of Death target right now. Oh no, he's going to walk right into him as well. Inflame. Uh-oh. Stun to lead things off. Super bottling up for the Breathe Fire. Impale Finger likely to come, and yep, easy pickings.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice grab for Fenrir, some more gold for him. I thought that he wasn't going to be able to get anywhere close to a Blink Dagger this game with the kind of setup that Vici Gaming have, but they've still got a couple of tier 1 towers to grab, and that kill is going to start moving him forward. He's even got 26 CS. His team has still somehow managed to make quite a bit of space for him this game.
Yeah. One of the really nice things about the Gyro is that he spends so much time off the lane compared to a lot of safe laners that these supports suddenly just pick up decent amounts of farm. It's why I think we've seen like CDC run a lot of Visage with their Gyrocopter, just because they always know even a 5-position Visage will eventually... This is Fenrir, who effectively is the 5-position support player for the team with 26 CS, so really good news here for Vici Gaming. ISIS is looking to look to stop the push down bottom lane. Super gets the stun off onto June. He has popped the mech though and looking very healthy. And without Burning, not really a fight they can take. It looks like it's top lane where they're going to get another kill on Inflame. Oh, they were kind of faking out CDC like, oh, we're going to rotate everyone bottom lane to defend. But really, it was top lane where the real threat was. And Inflame with 2 deaths in quick succession. I feel like Orchid is just not going to happen for him this game.
Yeah, it's just going to be way too slow. I mean, he's got some components at the moment, but at this rate, it's looking like even the Nature's Prophet Orchid may come up more quickly than the Invokers.
And you kind of mentioned it, the 4-staff is just so good against these heroes. Like, if if he's getting ganked by a Prophet and a Gyro, they have no stuns. Their lockdown is a Sprout, which you can force stuff out of, so perhaps something where he may look to reconsider his build, but very hard to do so once you've already committed to components for an item. So at this point, he may just be somewhat stuck in the Orchid mentality.
Invoker's just... Inflame is just wishing that he had the old Force Staff to build into. It's like, if only I could use this Quarter Staff to build my old attack speed Force Staff. Invoker would be a hell of a hero if that item was still around, but... Oh well.
Bottom lane here, possibly looking to set up towards this Clockwork, but won't be able to find too much here. DK has a Blink Dagger, which gives Vici Gaming a good initiator go for their team. Considering ice isn't exactly looking like he's in position to get a well-timed Blink Dagger himself, this is going to be very handy for Vici Gaming.
I wonder if ice is even considering just rushing an Ags this game.
Yeah.
Try it out. He's already got some points in the Caustic. The build-up is a little bit easier, I suppose, as well, if he feels like he's going to be dying a bit. You know, a bunch of 1k components instead of having to farm 2200. I guess we'll just have to keep an eye on him.
And you say try it out. It's literally what it seems Vici Gaming has done throughout this tournament. It's just try out heroes who have received changes in the new patch. Try out new items. We saw the Vengeful Spirit Aghanim Scepter. We've seen a Pudge from FY. We've seen a support Invoker. We're seeing them try out new things game after game. So it really does feel like, not that Vici Gaming are trying to win, but they very much are trying to explore the new patch.
Yeah, and if this is definitely where they're going to be looking for, you know, whatever new ace they can have up their sleeve for some game and further down the line. You know, the more they get to experiment, the more they know. I see running away here.
Just got out of range. The hook shot now. Super in some trouble. The push on the Fenrir as well. He gets caught in a Tornado MP. No impale just yet for Fenrir. He gets taken out before he can use a spell. Well, this time it's CDEC who just happened to be in the right position when that initiation comes in. He couldn't get the Dragon Tail off, and then Clockwork was smoked up already lingering around that middle lane. And that's space.
Oh. FY. Please.
And a bit of... You only get that with a bit of fortune going your way because the Terrorblade doubles his base damage, so...
Yeah, 100 versus... 200 and something.
Yeah, and because you're only going to get one right click off between the Terrorblades, his attacks and his Illusions attacks. It does take a bit of RNG that the tower's at the right HP to get that last hit, but hey, he'll take it. And Terrorblade perhaps could have been more disciplined about the last hit there.
Yeah. In extremely good news for CDEC.Y, it was Inflame who got the double kill on mid lane, so the Orchid is now looking a little bit more plausible. He's already got the first Oblivion staff up, so that really got him back into the game.
Burning's huge this game, though. That's a big concern for them.
Yeah, Burning is definitely monstrous. He's always the other thing about Burning is he's always so disciplined with the HOTD use. I feel like there are still some carry players in like the tier 1 competitive scene, even a couple in China, who just don't use their HOTD at all. You know, they won't farm a lane with it, they won't scout with it, it'll just sit off cooldown, but Burning at the very least seems to always make really good use of the stacks on this gyrocopter, so always gets that farm acceleration going.
Inflame scouts out what's going on at the Ancients. Just a double stack there for now. It looks like he may want to try and find a pick off Ice at the bottom lane. Could be the target for this one. He knows that the Boris Wreck was just using, he's going to go with the Cold Snap, EMP, Tornado should be, oh no, not available, he just invoked into this one, but he's going to get the kill solo, one more right click is not even needed, the earn damage ticks him over, nicely played by Inflame. And the hook shot, oh, he was just a tiny bit too short, Demons. Slightly off there, he had the right line, just didn't have the distance.
The Clockwork has a Robe of the Mega at the moment, it looks like he's going for a Blade Mail, but it seems like this is such a good Force Staff game for CDEC.Y that I'm not working on a single one at the moment.
Oh, they've caught FY too. He can't TP, not during the Cold Snap, and Inflame will get a secondary fault kill. We questioned when he could finish an Orchid, well, it's suddenly 19 minutes. He's recovered. That's all it takes is a kill or two.
Yeah, well, he picked up a dominating streak in like the last 4 minutes or something. He was 0-2-2 before that. Yep. And now he's 4-2-2.
If you push enter, you see 4 Inflame kills and an Inflame bounty rune. So that's about as good a sequence of events as you could hope for.
Alright. I was about to go back to my point about the HOTD and flame the Terrorblade a little bit because he just had his HOTD off cooldown, but he finally dominates up the Frost Ogre.
Epicenter on the Demons, he'll go down to a finger. That's a smoke gang coming out from Vici, but they may pay for it if the Invoker looks to re-initiate, but that won't be the case. We'll see. Terrorblade, most of the Terrorblades I've seen with the HOTD build have gone for some Ancient stacks, although for now it looks like he wants to be able to fight with the Ice Armor.
I don't think that's a bad plan at all. I feel like they have maybe forgotten about this gyrocopter a little bit. Burning hasn't gotten involved since that engagement that happened on the mid lane, and they have to be very afraid of him at the moment.
It's a good time to fight right now before he finishes a BKB, but once he gets BKB, team fighting is not going to go too well for them. Clockwork building a Blade... that's where I'm also surprised Clockwork's going for Blade Mail over 4-staff. He's a support Clockwork. He's going to get the Blade Mail at such a late time that I just don't see it really coming into effect, because Gyro's going to have a BKB by that point.
Battle for the Ancients. Inflame got stunned twice.
Oh, the hook shot's good, though. He's going to break them off at the back with the cogs in the vacuum in. 3 heroes caught inside. Super has not got a BKB to deal with this one, and Burning, he's rotated with a cooldown, but he has not got the backup he needs from the rest of his team. He's forced to go on the run, and you mentioned the Battle of the Ancients. I believe CDEC could take this. They've got the Terrorblade Metamorph, but they want something bigger. They want Roshan, and I like this decision. They're going to secure themselves a big advantage off of this. Terrorblade's Metamorph going to allow them to bring it down very quickly.
That was such sick teamwork from Demons and June there. Just perfect jump into the cogs, into the vacuum wall. And it was actually, I think, a very good time for CDEC to take the fight, not only because of how far along Gyrocopter was towards his BKB, not quite having it completed, but also, FY dead. Alright. Mega kill streak now for Inflame. But the fact that the Epicenter was on cooldown as well, they knew that the threat from Ice was pretty severely reduced.
Yeah.
So, good time to be looking for something.
Super also on the Dragon Knight, no BKB for him. He's got only an Ogre Club. His ability to fight and just initiate is severely limited because of that. Ice. Gonna get blinked on by an Iron Shell. The hook shot will not land though. Surge forward. Oh, not going to get there in time to stop the blink, and it looks like June will not be able to catch up.
Okay, at the very least, VG do manage to reclaim their Ancient stack here. I hope they're giving most of the last hits to Super to get his BKB here. He's dying to the Ancients, though.
He's got 1k gold. Kind of hard to say for sure. It looks like Burning's still getting most of the farm as far as their team's concerned. Oh, another kill attempt bottom lane. FY's been caught out again by Inflame. He misses his tornado but gets the cold snap. And FY will go down again. This Invoker punishing FY time and time again. What does Invoker go for?
The Orchid a little bit.
Okay, there we go. 4-star's been picked up.
So valuable.
Yeah, it really has. And see, 1 4-star. We'll see if there's going to be a second coming out anywhere else. But Demons right now just holding on to gold with that Robe of the Magi.
So it seems like VG just need to put their team fight together somehow. They really need to get the Epicenter off, potentially. Lion's quite close to a Blink Dagger as well, so ideally he picks that up maybe with another big finger kill, but not quite level 11 just yet.
Burning lingering around this mid lane. Has got BKB, Super has not though. And Terrorblade with Metamorph popped, I imagine the intention is definitely to get a tier 2 tower at least here. Clockwork's in position on the side. Ready to initiate. The Blink Barrow Strike just used as a bit of casual harass, and the tier 2 tower will be claimed. CDC probably forced to back off after this with Metamorph wearing off though.
But still in a pretty good position. They've got, what, another 2.5 minutes remaining with the Aegis, so if they play their cards right and keep the lanes in a good spot, they might be able to go and have one more big attempt at something with the Metamorph still up. TB's now got his BKB as well, which is going to be a huge boon for them in this upcoming fight. And Super, is he close? He's got the Mytho Hammer now, so might be able to farm this up in time.
If he can farm it before another push comes, with the BKB pickup, that could suggest CDC are thinking, let's actually go high ground with this Aegis. Not an item that you get if you want to try to take it into the late game or to farm. The fact he buys it now while he's got Aegis, to me, suggests, okay, they want to win the game before this goes late game.
Yeah, I definitely think you'd see more stat items and stuff like that if it was going to be the farming route. But they're hitting some pretty big timings. You know, the Force Staff is a huge boon for the Invoker. Darkseer's got his Greaves now on top of his...
Well, they're smoking right into Vici. Both teams smoke into one another. They're going to get a 2-3-man Burrow Strike, Cooldown, Flak. They kill everyone, including the Terrorblade, who's got an Aegis, though, so he'll have a second life. In Flame. He's used most of his spells here. Goes into the Ghost Wall. Gets scouted out by a Sprout here. He's got no Force Staff as well. And the Sentry Ward giving him what they need to get the kill. The chase is on with a Homing Missile, and Vici Gaming... Well, it's Ice's instincts kicking in, the smokes pop, and he instantly goes on the aggressive, hits the Burrow Strike that was needed to win the fight, and Vici Gaming capitalize.
It was just so unfortunate for CDEC that they just happened to have smoked. They were just grouped up, and then they got 3 hero Burrow Striked into 3 hero Earth Spiked.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They were not... they weren't ready for a fight to break out that much. I think the surprise factor, the fact they were grouped up and huddled together as much as they were, just played into Vici's cards. And unfortunately for them, that's a big turnaround. June going to look to kind of make something happen here at the mid lane. Hookshot coming in, catches the creeps, but Demon's unable to get in range for anything else here. The cooldown looking to cover the retreat. A Manta dodges the cooldown. Woohoo! That was a nice bit of play, but ultimately not going to get them anything out of it. Some style points, perhaps.
See, I feel like if the Clockwork has Force Staff there, they might catch.
I think that's why DK stunned him. He's like, oh, Clockwork's about to catch up to us. Let's stun him to help cover our retreat. But it's like, wait, no Force Staff. He's not doing anything.
CDEC Youth still get a little bit on the swing back here. Terrorblade gonna do some damage with the Metamorphosis, but does need to be careful.
Yeah, no Aegis for name. If he gets chain stun, there's a Lion, there's a Sand King, and a DK stun as well. A lot of stun duration available.
They're both silenced, but In Flame is gonna finish it with the right clicks.
Damn, these Manta dodges. AIM is making plays happen.
I wonder if they've got that 5 MS. Yeah, they've got the 5 MS. Because I just checked the ping in console.
Nice.
Makes life a little bit easier for some of those Manta dodges, but they're sick as well. It's still really good.
You can tell this guy's practiced with the item. He dodged the cooldown, then he dodges the homing missile. I don't know. If this was Counter-Strike, I'm sure people would be spamming to vac ban this guy or something. No cheats in Dota though, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely not. But a few more, maybe we can get a montage going or something like that. I have to keep an eye out for it.
So BKB for Invoker as well. It seems BKB's across the board going to be the plan, well, at least for the 2 main CDEC cores.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a pretty solid line of play. Don't have to worry so much about the line, especially when you've got your 10-second BKB and kind of your 9-second BKB. You can be really proactive with popping it. So if you just have, you have that spidey sense that the line is about to jump in, it doesn't really cost you too heavily to pop it a little bit early. And that makes Lion's life a little bit more difficult, but they didn't get nearly the value that they were hoping for out of that last Aegis.
I see caught out, but just to dazzle. That was a 3-man smoke gank with Gyro backing them up, so dazzle not the biggest loss for them, and they are in position at this top lane to kind of counter push the mid lane. And Vici's push is decent with the Dragon Knight, but Terrorblade can be a lot scarier. But unfortunately, AIM has to back off by a TP scroll before he can start split pushing the top lane, so does slow him down a bit as far as pressuring top.
I find it a little bit strange that CDEC.Y weren't suspicious at all about the fact that they got jumped in that first smoke gank. That Vici kind of knew that they were roughly at the top lane, because they haven't dewarded either of these 2 dire wards that really screwed them in the last couple of minutes. Kind of ends up working out nicely for Vici again there. If they don't have that map information, then there's absolutely 0 chance that the Dragon Knight and the Sand King just go running in like that. But they knew that CDEC.Y had split up, and so just the 2-hero rotation feels safe while the other heroes are all off farming. VG really pushing it to the limit.
CDC are looking for that pick off down bottom on Ice. May need to throw a tornado for this one though, and Ice Blink, Burrow, using everything at his toolkit to try and escape. Has gone for a Blink Force Staff, so no Aghanim Scepter just yet. Would love to see one. That goes without saying. Get that 1300 stun range on Burrow Strike. And Inflame, he'll walk back in. Also, Prophet. TP's on Inflame's exact position. I think Inflame probably sees a Sand and a Prophet TPing, and he's like, huh, what's going on? Well, Dire Sentry Ward was there and was ready to go.
Super's got himself a Hyperstone. I guess this is just going to be AC. It synergizes too well with the Gyrocopter, and the armor is too valuable against the Terrorblade to go for anything else. I like Mjolnir so much on Dragon Knight, but it feels like you can just never build it because any Hyperstone you buy is always going to go into an AC, and I guess it's just going to be the same.
It seems just too much like a late game luxury item, and if you go Blink BKB, your farm progression is very slow. Like he's doing pretty well this game, but like you're happy when you get your AC. You're not really thinking like you're ever going to get a Mjolnir.
Yeah, so he is getting quite close to level 16, which is going to be a pretty big boost for Vici Gaming once he picks up the Frost Dragon. Terrorblade, as expected, looks like just going towards a Scotty right now. Darkseer has another Staff of Wizardry, so maybe we'll be seeing that second Force Staff coming up for them, as Vici just going to opt for a gem.
Yep.
Where's that gone? That's just on the courier.
And it looked like CDEC did recognize the vision in that secret shop area, but both sentry wards off the mark, and Prophet says hello courier. May not get the TP out though, as Darkseer was there in position. He's going to silence him up, doesn't have TP available. His TP scrolls on cooldown. FY gets a courier, but will pay for it with his life. And that definitely reveals the fact there's a dire ward up here, but problem is it's about to expire anyway, so
yeah, it's only got a few seconds left.
You de-ward that, it's not exactly a huge bounty.
Alright, so Invoker's got his BKB completed. That's a nice timing for CDEC Youth along with the Force Staff and the Darkseer. Vision, not so great, especially since they've got the Sand King running around with this gem at the moment, so probably gonna have to see them playing a little bit safe for the next little bit. Do CDEC.Y have anyone who could buy a gem? That's a decent question, but it looks like everyone's a little bit poor.
Clockwork just about has money for one, so depends how much he values like the 4 staff you mentioned. They've got 2 already, so theoretically that's going to be sufficient on its own.
Yeah, it seems pretty decent to put on the Invoker now that he's got his BKB as well. He can kind of go scouting at front, know if he's being spotted by any sentries, and be somewhat safe. Though that might be a false sense of security if he gets Dragon Tailed or hexed, then he's definitely 100% dead.
Roshan being back up could be something that both teams will be eyeing off. Rocket Flare can be used by the Clockwork on the Radiant side to scout it out, and I'd say CDC with the Terrorblade and the Dazzle Medallion with the better lineup to take Roche, but also they've got to be careful not to get caught around the pit in the AoE combo that we've seen take them out already this game.
Yeah, and Burning is farming so well this game. He's got another 2k on top of his Monkey King bar. I still don't quite know how they're going to deal with him. I guess later on Invoker might be able to look at something like a Hex, but Burning still has a 9-second BKB in reserve. Both teams have actually been farming pretty for quite a big chunk of the last couple of minutes.
As much as I don't feel like they can easily do with Burning, I still feel like the team fights are going to come down to who's getting the better initiation, who's getting more out of their spells. Like the last fight was decided by a Burrow Strike Impale. If that's CDC, the previous fight where they got the Vacuum and the Clockwork working well together, then they win the fight. So I feel like either way the carries still rely on their supporting cast to be able to team fight.
Yeah, definitely the case. I mean, there could even be just stuff like the Terrorblade being able to get a good Sunder off because of some help from the Dazzle, or even Clockwork could split up a fight successfully with the Power Cogs to such a degree that it actually, wins the 5-on-5 clash. But I said both teams going to start squaring off for Roshan at the moment.
Reflection's also going to scale well against the Gyrocopter as well with the illusions, so that's always something to keep in mind. The later this game goes, Reflection is a spell that keeps on getting better and better against the right-click heroes. Even like you get an illusion of a dragon, I believe you'd get the AC aura during the duration of the reflection. So
that's what I was just about to ask.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't see why not. Like you get their items if they have like an Orb of Venom, it like applies Orb of Venom on them. So I don't see why it'd be different for aura items.
Yeah, no, that's what they are illusions. So.
Yeah, the uptime's pretty good.
It's auras. Yeah.
It's like a 5.5 second duration on a 16-second cooldown. Oh, hookshot in. They've caught 2. Super somehow does not get pushed by the cogs. OS Frog, please. Demon's now getting Grave to keep him alive. It's aim in the front lanes on Terrorblade. He's going to need a Sunder, it looks like. Has he got any good Sunder target? So he goes on to Super, but Super wasn't even that healthy, and aim going to go down burning. Survives through it all. The negative weave not going to prove to be enough. Meanwhile, in the backlines, it's Inflame chasing down with the BKB. He's taken out the Dragonite and the Lion. The Gyro not really in the best fighting shape, but being earned back up. Poor Terrorblade just had no one to Sunder there. And unfortunately for him, the Grave had already been used on the Clockwork. How did that Cogs not push the
I don't know.
the Dragonite? If that was the old Cogs, definitely with the square, but that seemed ridiculous that it did not push DK. They're going to catch Ice in the Orchid. Inflame looking to chase him down. We'll need a couple more right clicks. Gets the kill. Turns around for a Deafening Blast on the Burning. But FY's here to save the day. That Sprout locking him in place. But FY cannot win the right click battle. Throws out a Tornado. Has to deal with a Homing Missile. Burning. 90 HP. Where's that Sunstrike? Can you swag? Have they got any vision? It doesn't look like it. Inflame will walk into it. Sunstrike.
Let's go,
Sunstrike.
Inflame.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, not that close, but he went for it. Maybe he should have waited for a Rocket Flare. If he waited for the Rocket Flare, could have got a bit more vision, but like you say, right idea.
Look, I'm not going to take anything away from the guy. He just stopped the Roshan pretty much single-handedly,
yeah.
So...
Got 2 kills pretty much single-handedly as well. That was impressive play coming out from Inflame.
Yeah. It was a shame for CDEC.Y that fight was so split up, because the Terrorblade actually man-fought the Gyrocopter and the Dragonite extremely successfully. Just needed that little bit extra to push it over the edge, but looks like the Invoker was busy keeping the Lion occupied. Though if the Lion wasn't occupied, I guess he's on the Terrorblade and giving him a really hard time, so wasn't the worst for the Invoker, who's now got an AC of his own now.
Oh, the Invoker went for the AC, okay.
Yeah.
And he's doing it. Even just looking at his right-click damage, he's hitting for about 250 right now, and the AC will just help amplify all that. So
he's also not too far from picking up the AoE Deafening Blast, which is going to be nuts now that the BKBs are starting to wear down, and not too far away from picking up his +6 all stats.
He goes into the Roshan pit, but there's an Epicenter.
Oh, the flare cancel the blink!
No, Ice! Epicenter not going to amount to much. Invoker's BKB will outlast the cooldown. He turns for the Tornado. Inflame, though, getting graved up, perhaps a bit too preemptively. He's going to lose the Grave and go down. Ice chasing for more. He has a Burrow Strike soon, as well as a Blink. Who's he going to go for? Not going to go for anyone. He backs off. Very cautious play coming out. It looks like the decision's been made to back off, secure Roshan. He got scouted going into the Roshan pit. Despite being in Ghostwalk here, there was an Observer Ward and Sentry that gave vision of the Invoker Ghostwalking into the pit. So they knew he was in there.
They tried to be so sneaky with that. I mean, I think they were showing the Terrorblade at the same time. I was thinking to myself, like, why isn't the Terrorblade there? But I think what they were hoping for is that they were going to have the Terrorblade splitting and then be able to sneak the Roshan with the Invoker. Since I don't, from their perspective, they probably didn't think that the AC had been scouted.
Yeah.
So they were probably telling themselves, like, oh, Vici don't think that we can do it with just the Invoker, but Vici read the situation really nicely. And despite the Rocket Flare canceling the Blink to prevent tanking from getting in there with the Epicenter, they're still going to win the fight.
Yeah, and they kind of fumbled, like, the DK didn't even get his stun off on the Invoker before the BKB, so they fumbled it a bit, Vici Gaming, but it was just, once the Invoker was known to be in the pit, like, they had no way to defend this one. And now Invoker, committing to the AC, does not have buyback. Terrorblade's going to look to defend now with the BKB. One more right click, he takes down Super. Burning on the front lines, has an Aegis, but he may die twice if he's not careful. He dies once. Aim's going to have the reflection in a couple of seconds. It looks like he wants to go for this kill. The Manta is there, but he's still going to get chain sunned up. Can he get a Sunder off? He needs a Grave. He's not going to get Grave. Dazzle was just a little bit too far back, and Terrorblade now taken out of the picture. Invoker's respawned, and Inflame, it's all up to you, my friend. He's got just a Terrorblade buyback to back him up, and Inflame trying to man up against Burning. That's not really working too well here. Ice blinks forward, does not have mana. And there's the buyback. Cue the music as Terrorblade buys back into the fight, has a reflection, can slow down Burning, needs to at least get a Gyrocopter kill off of this, I feel, but I don't even think he can do that. Gyro's got a Butterfly, and they can Sprout to cover the retreat if they need to. GoDz.Y, TP, not going to make it out with the initial one. Has he got time to go for another? Nope. Orchid's there. And that's a gem being lost. Or a gem being returned.
But that buyback ends up being only the Nature's Prophet kill, so that's going to be tough for the Terrorblade. He was doing so well in that fight up until he didn't have any backup. He solo killed the Dragon Knight, had a really good BKB timing as well.
And he took the Aegis down, but it was very much like in the moment, like they decided to commit to try and kill Gyrocopter a second time rather than just back off to defend their high ground. And I think he just felt confident because Dazzle's probably saying, I'm behind you. If they try and focus you down, I'll grave you. But he couldn't get the grave off.
Yeah.
Going in on Burning here. Manages to just walk himself. He just like walks through the cogs there. Like, yeah, yes, 2 of them had been broken, but I just feel like the cogs overall do not seem to be as potent as they used to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit weird. Yeah, so it definitely looked like they were just expecting that the Dazzle was going to be able to get the grave off and then get a huge Sunder and win the fight that way, but with the benefit of hindsight, the much safer play would have been to back up and wait until the Invoker was ready to join them with all of his AoE control. Could have given the Terrorblade another opportunity to get the Sunder off even without the Dazzle surviving.
It's hard in the moment. In the moment, he's thinking, I've got Metamorph up. Let's fight through Metamorph. Oh no, they get the BKBs off after the Tornado. And Burning as well as Super trying to fight into the Terrorblade. He's got BKB. He's going to Sunder Burning. That gets Burning down nice and low. They'll kill off the Gyrocopter. Nice. Multiple hero Burrow Strike coming in from Ice. He's going to be forced to get the hell out of there and aim. Going down, or is he? The grave is there. He's still alive and he's going to back off. Nothing on him to finish him off. Lion now. Chase down. This will be the 5th kill in CDEC.Y's team fight, completing the team wipe. They're all dead on the Vici Gaming side. What can CDEC get done during this? Is this where you pick up a Boots of Travel if you're AIM? Maybe look to rejoin your team. No, he's just going to pick up the TP scroll. Metamorph wearing off soon, unfortunately, and seems CDC want to force out some buybacks and go for a high ground attempt of their own.
That's more like it, though, from CDEC. I guess the thing that we haven't seen is the thing that we have to keep in mind is that the last 2 team fights, the Invoker and the Terrorblade have not teamed up at all. When the Invoker died in the pit, the Terrorblade was split pushing to try and give legitimacy to the Roshan sneak. And then on bottom lane, the Invoker was, I think, still dead while the Terrorblade was charging in. So that's the first time that we've seen them be able to team up again. It does go to show that they've still got something to say about the way that this game is going.
Trying to force some buybacks here. Ice uses his first. Gyrocopter has one, but deciding not to use it. And they will lose their racks as a result. Not confident to buy back and try and fight without the... If he buys back and dies, they lose the game. So I can respect the decision from Burning not to use his buyback, but... A full lane of racks claimed by CDEC Youth.
Yeah, I think that was some really smart buyback usage from VG. The Sand King buying back threatens the catch and future buybacks, so that's going to be enough for CDEC Youth to back up. So, all right, what do we got now? We got a BKB on the Darkseer. Clockwork has bought himself a Plate Mail, so I guess he's going for Lotus Orb.
Yeah.
Probably here. Dispel a Hex, Reflect a Dragon Tail, Dispel a Silence. Seems good.
Yep. I can get on board with that. Can you echo the Sprout? Not that I feel like it's going to make a big difference in team fight. It'd just be kind of funny more than anything, but...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If they... I guess it would be whether or not they click targeted. Yep. So if they unit targeted on you, then you're probably reflected. But if they ground targeted, then I guess it doesn't.
Importantly, Gyro now with a Satanic, which is a pretty big boost to his late game potential. If you're not getting disabled during it, chances are you may get a kind of second life off of the Satanic, and we'll see how things go down. It really feels like CDC, when they have the Invoker Terrorblade, you kind of mentioned it, these two fighting together are incredibly powerful. What the Invoker does at level 25, the reflection now as well, like all these team fights, Terrorblade is just using that reflection very liberally, and that does a huge chunk of damage to the Dragon Knight as well as the Gyrocopter. And if you catch some of the support to the backlines, it's cancelling their Blink Daggers as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that the next item for Inflame needs to be Refresher. Like, even if you don't have the sick combos, you know, with Tornado, Meteor, Deafening Blast, Meteor, Deafening Blast, just double Deafening Blast at level 25 is probably game winning at this stage. So definitely need to be keeping an eye out for that, especially now that the BKBs are wearing so so thin. Dragonite 6 seconds, Gyrocopter 5 seconds. Having what basically amounts to double Ravage is going to be pretty important.
Alright, well they are grouping up now towards this bottom lane. Feeling like they can make a move towards this bottom tier 2 tower for now. Vici Gaming themselves in the neighborhood, about to get scouted out by some Forged Spirits though. Looks like Burning will just come in and clean those two up. Very important stage of the game for the buybacks, and right now it's just Invoker and Clockwork with buyback. Gyrocopter, 50 gold short, he'll have it in a second, so chances are Burning will have buyback for the next team fight.
Yeah, I don't think CDEC.Y definitely want to wait for their Monkey King bar on the Terrorblade and the Refresher Orb on the Invoker.
I mean, Terrorblade's buyback, okay, coming up in 50 seconds, so that's going to be
FY's dead again. In Flame.
Wow, he just
It's like the fourth or fifth situation.
Oh dear, though, he pops a BKB.
5 second charge. But yeah, that might still suck if VG tries something here.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, considering it's 5 seconds, it doesn't look like it's gonna matter too much.
Is he going for the Hex? Hex or Refresher?
He picks up the ultimate orb. Yeah. Well, initially he bought a Mystic Staff, and then he bought the ultimate orb.
He's just buying Hex. All right.
Yeah. So Terrorblade's MKB coming soon.
I think I like the Refresher more, honestly.
On Invoker.
Yeah.
I think they just need the control to deal with the Gyrocopter Satanic, but the Refresher gives you control for it as well. So I think the most important thing is not letting Gyro Satanic up from like a couple hundred HP, but there's definitely an argument to be made that Refresher can do that as well, considering Gyro's sitting on a 5 second BKB.
He might be able to get 2 off in a fight as well with the Scythe, the new cooldown, 25 seconds, but big team fight coming up.
Rocket Flare, they've seen Fenrir now. Buyback status looking good for some of the carries. Invoker actually gives up his for that Sheep Stick though, so I imagine he's probably making the call like, guys, we're going to be a little bit careful about this one. And Terrorblade gets the tier 2 bottom tower. He's going to look to apply pressure. He may get caught out though if he's not careful. A lot of heroes nearby. Blink, Burrow Strike is there. He's got backup though. May need that Dazzle Grave if he's not careful, but they're not committing here. They know it's just a Terrorblade super. Gonna get slowed down by the Reflection. Pops a BKB, looks to turn and fight. Burning going for the backlines. He zones him out with a cooldown. Now he's gonna get hooked up, but he's in BKB form. Should be fairly safe. Y TP's into the middle of things. The vacuum wall is there. It's gonna lose the Terrorblade. Oh no. No Terrorblade for this fight, but they've still got a very, very scary Invoker, and Inflame is looking to chase everyone down here. Burning's got Satanic. He's going to look to turn and fight. He pops it. He lifesteals. He brings down the Invoker, and that's an Invoker without buyback. Both carries now on the CDEC side are dead, and CDEC are just going to have to hightail it out of there. Well, unfortunately, every time Vici commit to the Terrorblade, they're so good about making sure he dies and does not get graved up. And he does not get a Sunder off.
Yeah, I don't know if IC got a little bit greedy on the grave or what, or just couldn't find the Terrorblade in the midst of everything, but the TB died and then one of his illusions got graved right afterwards.
I was watching the Terrorblade die there, I'm just like, I think Grave is up, but I can fully understand why he didn't manage, like my screen lagged for a second during that vacuum wall, so I could see why he didn't.
They're gonna jump in, demons!
Oh, he got the vacuum! Ooh. Can they finish Roshan though? Burning's still on the low ground. They're going to lose Clockwork, and there we go. But I feel like somewhat excusable that he did not get the grave there, but we see Vici Gaming now find another pick off, secure themselves a Roshan, and they're now in position with Aegis on their side to do some serious damage. Not to mention Cheese on Super as well.
I mean, it's excusable, but I think that grave is the game, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
you can see here, Terrorblade gives up his buyback money to finish the MKB, and I think he's saying, like, we're in a position where we lose another fight, or if I have to buy back, the game's over, so I'm just going to buy all the items I can for these next couple of fights. Needs to have an answer for the Butterfly Evasion.
Yeah, we got a Hex now on FY, which is going to be problematic for CDEC. Who grabbed the Aegis and the Cheese?
Oh,
Aegis is on a Dragon Knight. Was there even a Cheese?
There was. It should be. It said the Courier.
Ah, okay. There you go.
So Dragon Knight wanting to carry the crit, it looks like, instead. So we'll see some late game coming out of DK. Ice is going to be the cheese carrier. So there we go. Sadly, no Aghanim Scepter this game.
A little bit unfortunate that we don't get to see it, but this is a damn good game, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah. And CDEC gonna have to heavily rely. It looks like, I mean, for them, the plan just to wait out the Aegis right now. Do you feel? High ground defend.
I think that's their best opportunity. Their high ground fight is actually really strong if they can get the coordination. Right. It gives them the opportunity to
pick up. Yeah, not to cut you off, sorry, but Aegis-less Rapier while you're ahead. Burning just... I know Scant was telling me, man, he feels like Rapier is an underbought item just because everyone's so afraid of losing it, they refuse to buy it. And Burning showing he is not afraid to pick up a Rapier.
Right, they've revealed it, but...
What's the answer? You give up this range rack. Fight at your tier 4s, I feel.
Yeah, dude. Okay, dispel the DD. Nope, missed the tornado. That sucks.
Yeah.
Wait out the DD, please God.
Yeah. Just spam reflection from afar. I guess you're worried about spamming reflection because they may jump the Terrorblade. But the ideal situation is you just throw a reflection or two here to try and defend. Get them down a little bit low before the fight breaks out. There we go. They throw the weave. They don't want to fight immediately off of this, I imagine. Wait till it builds up a little bit. And Vici Gaming seeing this are going to back off themselves. Well, if you lose a Rapier, that's one way to turn a game around.
Definitely. I wonder if this is the moment for the tactical Darkseer suicide. He's the only one on his team with buyback. So you could blink in and pretend to flub your initiation and then buyback immediately.
I like it. I'm sold.
It sounds like a dumb play, but...
Yeah, it baits them into push high ground. And potentially go for like a follow-up catch near the tier 4s where you can punish them using someone like Clockwork.
Could be the chance. They have the weave back up. That's the other big opportunity that the high ground defense affords CDEC, is that they have the opportunity to get a really good weave on their team and take at least a bit of an edge off of this Gyrocopter's crazy flat cannon.
Sage just won't last forever, and Vici Gaming had to wait for a creep wave, it looked like, as the Prophet pushed things out a little bit. Speaking of Prophet, Bizer Hex here, super getting chipped away at by the reflection illusions. Man, those reflection illusions with Cold Snap. It's super down to half HP here, but he is the Aegis carrier. I imagine again we'll just keep seeing that reflection used. Tornado comes out, Demons with a Cogs push. This time he'll hit it. Just trying to get an Aegis kill for free here. They Lotus Orb off the silence, and Demon's actually getting caught out by that missile. The Glyph comes out, and that'll force Vici Gaming out of the base. Hook shot, Demons. Uh-oh. He hasn't got an Aghanim Scepter either. This Cogs will not latch on as well. Gotta be a little bit careful here.
Some great discipline and positioning from CDEC.Y.
Yeah.
And look at that. They group up for the weave just barely, and then everybody is back to being spread out such that there's only like ever a 2-hero burst strike at the very best available.
Looks like they will keep this Rax alive. Aegis about to wear off. We'll see if Vici Gaming stick around. As far as buybacks go, they are in pretty good shape here, and the Invoker just short of his own, so the Invoker will have 2 lives for this upcoming high ground defense, which is a pretty important hero to have it on, I'd say. Terrorblade himself, buyback back up as well. Yeah,
the Gyrocopter has, I think, buyback. Yeah, he's got buyback boots to travel, but
even though he loses Rapier, like this Terrorblade still does a lot without the Rapier, so...
Yeah.
If they go all in on the Gyrocopter and lose 2 or 3, and then Gyrocopter can just buy back, then CDEC could be in trouble.
Alright, this is scary for CDEC, honestly.
Yeah,
coming outside of the base,
I'm
not sold on this.
That looked like an opportunity Vici Gaming could have taken to go for a jump, but Vici Gaming themselves with Rapier in hand, perhaps also a little bit scared to go in. They buy, I think, the Daedalus complete? Nope, not quite up yet on the Dragon Knight. Needs the recipe still.
Oh, Gyro bought a Moonshard. He's still gonna have buyback, but no buyback boots to travel. So he is pretty all in at this point.
Yep.
Burning.
The Moonshard's pretty like with the Rapier though, it's worth it. Oh, can they get the jump?
They can see the Sand King top.
Oh, they've got the weave on everyone too. They get the Hex on the Burning. Vacuum Wall. Burning's the target. He's going to go down. They've lost Burning. They've lost the Rapier. He's also got no buyback. He did not manage to farm the money he needed for it. Elsewhere, they lose the profit. It could not have gone worse.
CDEC.
What?
Is that it?
It is. No, there's no buyback on either carry.
But
I mean, they'll find out soon enough.
yeah.
Ooh, that is such an unburning-like play. As far as burning plays go, that is like the opposite of a burning play right there. What just happened? And CDC with some balls of steel just snagged game 2, I think.
That was not very disciplined from VG at all.
No.
Let the Aegis fade. The Sand King was shown top.
Inflame's sitting back because he's got the rapier, but as soon as he sees Gyro and DK not buying back, I think he's going to realize, like, oh, I can just end this game. And here comes the FB center coming in from Ice Spyro Striker on the backlines, but there's not enough damage coming out of this. FY, he's going to get slowed down. The Reflection Illusion helping kill him off, and it's GG. CDEC force a game 3. Vici Gaming's discipline just not there when it mattered, and it was, regardless of the fact, like, Burning had the rapier there, it was, in the late game setting, very much not entirely in Vici Gaming's control. Once that Aegis wore off and CDC held the high ground, it really felt like CDC still had a very good shot to win the game. That one jump, though, just sealed the deal.
Yeah, I think it also does highlight a little bit some of the weaknesses of Vici Gaming's lineup in the later stages of the game. It felt like the Nature's Prophet and the Lion, their contributions, what they were able to make happen in the late game, you know, not nearly to the same degree that even the Clockwork and the Dazzle were valuable for CDEC Youth. You know, Clockwork, you typically think of him as a hero that's going to fall off, but farmed with the Lotus Orb for his team, got some really crucial initiations, and also the Cog pushback just turned out to be really good in defending the high ground. So, game 3.
I'm
Let's
hyped,
go.
man. This is good. This is some good old classic Chinese Dota and providing some great entertainment here. Somewhat new squad on the scene. I mean, not that they're new players by any means. A lot of the former CIS players, but CDEC Youth have surprised Vici Gaming as they've surprised a number of teams. Their road to get here has been tough. They've taken out eHome, they've taken down the CDEC main squad, and here they are going to a Game 3 decider against Vici Gaming for a spot in the Grand Finals, guys. You're watching myself, GoDz, as well as Basskip. We're covering the Rad&Dire Cup here on Beyond the Summon, and we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's Game 3. It's the decider. You guys don't want to go anywhere because we're going to find some more fantastic 6.86 Dota coming your way after this.